I'm recording it. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Are you going to edit it?
No. So you better... All right. On the bottom of Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, the very last line, it says, Rabbi Shemar Mimkomo Lamed Shemar V'Nichvasu Hanafashos Osos. So this is actually I should go back. Let's go back to 3 lines. So in the Mishnah, the 3rd line from the bottom. Rabbi Chanina ben Gamliel. Ma'im over avera achas. If somebody who's over one avera, notel nafsho leah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in case of Kores, takes his soul from him. Hosa mitzvah achas al amavik achas kama kama shetinasi lo nafsho. If somebody does a mitzvah, how much more so will his soul be given to him? Now, this is a very difficult line. What does it mean your soul is given to you? Any ideas? What does it mean? I understand what it means that if you commit Aver, your soul's taken from you, that means Kosh Baruch Hu puts you to death. But, yeah, Kores. Kores means a person dies, right? No, for the Aver which Kores is given. So the question is, what does it mean that a person gets a Nefesh, right? It seems to me that should not be that you have a Nefesh already. So there's a fundamental issue, a fundamental principle you have to understand, which is that we think of the neshama as being a specific thing which one possesses and one is contained within oneself. It's not true. Your neshama is far greater than you, and very little of your neshama is actually present within you at any time. Most of your neshama is always in Shamayim, because the neshama of a Jew is rooted in the highest heights of heaven, and therefore you don't have much access to most of your neshama. Moshe Rabbeinu was the person who had the highest access to the most amount of his neshama, and that's why he had the highest level of nevuah of any Navi in history. Yes?
So why do we say, stuff about how, when you die, your neshama goes back up to Shemayim, or when you're born, your neshama comes down?
Because the part of your neshama which comes down when you're born, and the part of the neshama which is down here goes back up when you... But most of it is up there, yes. Okay, so your consciousness is what the part of your neshama which comes down. So if a person does a mitzvah, every mitzvah a person does gives them more access to their neshama, to the holiness which they can accomplish. That's why we say the schar mitzvah. The reward of the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. The mitzvah itself gives you a higher level of kedusha. So the nefesh referring to is a person gets more of his own soul the more mitzvahs he does. For every aver you do, even once which you don't get kares, you lose a little bit of soul. Kares is when you lose your connection to Shamayim almost altogether. There's a very big decrease in the amount of soul you have.
Your neshama
disconnects from its heavenly source. If a person has kares, it means that they can't connect to holiness the same way they once did.
But when you get kares, does that mean that the part of neshama that's in you comes out?
No, you lose some of it. Gemara goes on to say, the Mishnah goes on to say, turning the page, Omer. It says, Asher Yaseh Osama Adam B'chai Bohem. A person does them and he lives in them. Now we understand, usually when we quote V'chai Bohem, we quote it to mean that a person can be Mechalo Shabbos for Pikuach Nefesh, do other Averos for Pikuach Nefesh if necessary. V'chai Bohem V'lo Shemus Bohem. Person should live in mitzvahs, not die in mitzvahs. That's how we normally understand it. But the way this Mishnah is learning it, it means that your chiyus, your life force, comes from your mitzvahs. The mitzvahs give you more access to kedusha. This is giving you more access to the higher levels of your neshama. That's the chiyus, the life force which you get. The hakol yoshev l'havar aveira, and furthermore, anybody who sits there talking about not doing averos, not specifically doing mitzvahs, but not doing averos. So therefore, hayoshev l'havar aveira nosemos schar ke'osei mitzvah. This is a very controversial statement because it says that if you just sit and don't do an avera, it's as if you did a mitzvah. Which means that, now the question is how literal to take that. Normally, what? That if you just sit and don't do an avera, even not doing a mitzvah, you get rewarded for it.
Well, obviously, because that's a lo saseh. That's not doing it.
Right, so the question is, you're very good, but the question is, if you don't, I'm not actually tempted right now. The lowest I say is not in front of you. If I put a cheeseburger in front of you, and you didn't eat it, then for sure you get schar.
But
The
you
question,
have a normal day, then you
the
get-
question is, now you don't have a cheeseburger in front of you, right? Are you getting schar now for not eating a cheeseburger?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I say, Yoshev lo aver avera means you didn't do the avera which is in front of you at the moment. There are many averas that you could do. A person gets rewarded, for example, for not speaking Lashon Hara. Because Lashon Hara is always in front of you, right? It's always available. So therefore, a mitzvah, avera like that, whereas there's constant temptation.
So a cheeseburger, it's always in front of you to pick up your phone and order.
Yeah, but that's a very minor temptation.
So you're saying the only time you would get rewarded is temptation, like based on temptation?
Right. And
Okay, so you don't have a temptation right now to speak Lashon Hara.
everybody has temptation to speak Lashon Hara anytime. People, if somebody in a class, chas v'shalom, it doesn't happen here, but if somebody here has a temptation not to behave in class, and they refrain from not behaving in class, they get tremendous schar for that. Because that's one of the greatest temptations we
What
face.
about like Aggadata who worked on himself enough?
He doesn't get as much schar
He
as,
doesn't get,
not as much as you. He will get much more schar than he does.
yeah, because he once was.
What?
He worked on it.
Once was.
Right, back then he did. But
But he should
So
still
is
get
it
the same
better?
because
So
Yeah.
is it better to? Is it better?
what?
To
I'm sorry.
still get the same amount of
No, it diminishes. He has now, Chazal say, Kol Gadol Mechaber Yitzhak Gadol Mimenu. He has his own Yetzer Hara issues. They're not the same ones. The ones which you have are not his.
Are you saying that it's better? Are you saying in a way to say that it's better? Two things. One, are you saying in a way that it's better to not work on yourself because then you get more schar for not doing those I say?
Yeah, but then you'll get repunished for not working on yourself.
Okay, fine.
You can't win.
Okay, fine. So never mind.
Oh, yeah.
So and then, but also, what you said about Lashon Hara, the Gemara says or whatever says that you always get schar for not saying Lashon Hara because you always have a temptation. But let's say there's a case where you really want to say Lashon Hara, and then you keep it to yourself, and then when you're by yourself, you scream it out loud.
That's fine.
That I know, but let's say so you're allowed to say Lashon Hara by yourself.
Not about yourself.
You're
You're saying by yourself. When
saying
you
it,
Are you saying Lashon Hara about yourself or by yourself?
nobody else is hearing.
So that's not Lashon Hara.
Fine, whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a prohibition of nivul peh, even when one is by oneself. Right? You're not allowed to use
Okay, fine. But
bad
you're supposed
words.
to say- But you're supposed to hold it in until nobody's there, right?
Yes.
So according on that note, then if you're by yourself, then it's not, and you don't have a Yetzer Hara to say Lashon Hara because it's not. There's no there of doing Lashon Hara. I don't know why.
Right, so you won't get them. Right. There's no. If you don't have somebody available to him to tell Lashon Hara, which is very infrequent, but if you don't have somebody available, if you're stuck in Antarctica by yourself, you're not going to get without a phone. You're not going to get much reward for not telling Lashon Hara. Okay. Lefum tzara agra, based on the amount of anguish, of difficulty there is, that's the amount of reward. Yes. Okay. So do you want to going forward? So Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Omer Harei Omer Rak Chazak Levilti Acholos Adam Ki Adam Hu Nefesh. It says he should be strong and not eat blood, because blood is the nefesh, corresponds in an animal to the nefesh in a human being. Ma'im Adam Shenafsho Shadam Katzri Menu. A blood which most people don't have a desire for. Nevertheless, Haparish Men Mekabo Schar, somebody who separates themselves from it receives a reward. Gezel Varayos, theft and inappropriate behavior, immoral behavior. Shenafsho Adam Isavelem, which a person has a desire for. Umecham Dosan, and yearns for them. A Polish man, if somebody separates himself from them, al achas kama v'kama, how much more so? Sheyizke lo udorosav, he's going to merit him for himself and his generations. Udoros dorosav ad sof kol adoros. That's a very interesting thing. In other words, the more obviously the Mishnah is giving us this principle. Things which you don't have such a desire for, there's less reward for. Things which you have a lot of desire for, there's more reward for. And then it says an amazing thing, which comes from the pasuk itself, of course, which tells us that Hashem counts that merit to the next generations. How does that work? Just because you were a good person, why does it give credit to the next generation? What's significant about your merit that it should be passed on to the next generation?
It's just like chasavos, because or our.
How does chasavos work? Yeah, you're just pushing the question back. What? How do they? So what? And therefore, what? Children automatically get the advantages of their parents.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes?
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You get the chosim from people.
Okay, so what?
You get the chosim from even people who were generations before you.
What does it mean you get chosim from them?
Family.
So,
Because you get their chosim.
so what is this chus?
America.
No, that's how we translate, but it's not really a translation. What? Nope. Zechus, the word zechus. What?
Heritage?
Zechus comes to the word zach. What does zach mean? Like pure. Like in Shemen, zay is zach. When we say, we're talking about a zechus, we're talking about a refinement. There's a very important chazal, extremely important chazal, which the Ramban brings down in its commentary in Kitetse on Ken Tzipor. He says that the chazal say, it's a Medrash Tanchuma, do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm just giving a translation, do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares if you shecht an animal from the front of the neck or the back of the neck? And so in that passage, the reference says, do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares if you send away the mother bird or don't send away the mother bird? Does it make any difference to Hashem? No. So it says, all mitzvahs are given to us in order to refine us, to make us better people. Now, refine, how does it mean? It means if you shecht the animal from the back of the neck, it's much more cruel. It's much more cruel to the animal. It's much more gory. You have to break its neck. If you shecht it from the front of the neck, the animal has much less pain. Because we believe no pain at all. So therefore, that makes you more refined. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu really cared about the cow, he wouldn't let you eat the cow. He doesn't care about the cow. He cares about you as a human being. And he tells you, be humane. The same thing with Shulach HaKen. You think HaKadosh Baruch Hu cared about the birds? Then he would say, don't eat the birds. Don't take the birds. No, he knows you want to eat the birds, but he tells you do things in the most humane possible ways which make you refined. It's a famous chinuch on the mitzvah not to break a bone in the Korban Pesach. Everybody knows there's such a mitzvah? Does anybody know the chinuch, what he says? Why is there such a mitzvah? Be like a prince. Very good. The night of the Seder was supposed to be like a prince. And he says there, Lefi I'm not sure if there's a quote from him, Chovos HaLevavos says a similar thing. Lefi ha'pu'ulos nimshachas ha'levavos. Based on what you do, your heart changes accordingly. So a zechus, what does it mean mitzvah zechus? It makes me more refined, a better person, more zach. If my parents were more zach, then that means I'm starting out on a higher level than I would have otherwise started. I'm starting out on a higher level of refinement because my parents were refined and they gave that refinement to me. It also has to do, obviously, with Kedusha, but let's focus on the refinement aspect. If I grew up in a house which is refined, they did mitzvahs, then that has reverberate. It continues on and on and on. The Chazal say, based on the pasuk says up to 500 generations. That's not literal. We'll talk about that perhaps a different time. But that goes on and is echoes throughout the generations because you were able to have a background which is refined. That's why to become a Baal Tshuva is such an amazing thing. Because a Baal Tshuva doesn't come from that refinement. You, all of us, we start off tremendously ahead in life, so to speak, because we all come from homes. So we come from homes, so therefore, there's not much reward we get for being frum. I'm not talking about for specific mitzvahs. There's a lot of reward to get for specific mitzvahs where we are tempted. But a Baal Tshuva comes from nowhere. He doesn't have any refinement. For him to actually turn himself around, that's an extraordinary thing. I want you to know, I teach the Baalei Tshuva and also Muncie Samech. It's extremely, extremely inspiring to see people actually have gone against their previous lifestyle and adopted a different lifestyle, and that's much, much more difficult than what we face. Baruch Hashem, and that's Chusavos. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That we're so refined, so pure that all Jews have since then have traits of Rachmanim, by Shonim and Gomli Chasadim. Gemara says Yibomas. A Jew is a Rachman, he has mercy. By Shon, he's shy, and he's Gomli Chesed, he does kindness. If somebody doesn't have those traits, there's something wrong, so to speak, in their Jewishness. That's something which we got from the Avos and continues that zachus, that purity in us today. Okay?
So how does it work?
I'm sorry?
How does this work?
It means that I'm more zach because the Avos imparted in us those qualities. Okay?
Change your DNA.
It's a spiritual DNA. I don't know if you're going to find it on the genetic code, but certainly in our spiritual DNA there's a change. Yes?
Are those three things for Jews or for like all people?
Just Jews. Jews are supposed to have those traits. What?
Jews have a conscience.
Have a what?
Have a conscience.
Conscience.
Yeah.
Yes. So but of course, non-Jews also have a conscience. There's specific traits.
Jews usually have more.
It could be, but that's because they're Rachmanim,
Yeah.
by Shonim and Gomli Chasadim, and we're going to see in the Makkos, in this, what we're going to learn in the next few sessions, more about why Jews have that special conscience. Okay, now the last line of the Mishnah.
To be shy?
Yeah. Yeah. By Shonim, yes. Relatively speaking, everything is relative, but Jews are more bashful than non-Jews. I think that's true. Okay, we might not sense it because we're not comparing ourselves to the outside world. But if you compare yourself to the outside world, you see Jews are generally more bashful. They're quiet. They're not as loud. They're not as.
How come Jews own so many things? They're so big in the money world and everything else.
Well, because it's a good question. Let me leave it for now. Maybe I'll deal with it either later today or next time. But money is good. The chemdas hamamon, the desire for money is an excellent question. We'll deal with it. Okay.
Talking about that. Talking about.
But I want to finish the Mishnah today, so I don't want to deal with it today. Okay? Next time? So just remember. Okay, next time. So now the end of the Mishnah is a very, very famous line. Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha Omer, ratza Kosh Baruch Hu zakos Yisroel. Kosh Baruch Hu wanted to provide merit to the Jewish people. Let's see how it's translated merit, but let's translate it now the way we're supposed to translate it. Refinement to the Jewish people. Therefore he gave them a lot of Torah and a lot of mitzvos. Hashem wants us to be righteous, and therefore he made a lot of Torah and made it very, very mighty. Okay? Now there's an amazing Rambam on this, which I want to go through with you. Take a look at the last page of the handout. You have there at the bottom the Perush of the Ravadini Bartanur, the Rav. And he gives the conventional pshat in the Mishnah. Bottom, the last page, he gives the simple pshat in the Mishnah. The simple pshat in the Mishnah is, the Torah says, don't eat insects, don't eat creepy crawly things, which you wouldn't do anything. But Hashem made it a mitzvah, in order to increase our reward, when we separate ourselves from them. Even though we wouldn't eat them anyway, because we find them repugnant. Now, the truth is, we know in China, they eat all sorts of insects and rodents and anything of that sort. They just deep fry them in oil, and then they evidently taste good. So I'm not so sure the Rav's pshat holds true throughout the world. If you're a Jew in China, you're getting a lot of schar for not eating shkatzim or amosim. Yeah.
You said before that if it's something you don't want to do, then you don't get schar. So if you don't want to eat them anyway, then...
Yes, you get minimal schar. In other words, it makes you a little bit more zach, just because we gave you a mitzvah. Now, that's a simple understanding. I'm going to give you a little bit of a higher understanding, which is that having the mitzvah creates the Yetzer Hara. It's not a major, in other words, before it was a mitzvah, so then, of course, I wouldn't have done it. Now it's a mitzvah, it's already... Jews have a rebellious character. We see that in the Midbar all the time, right? The Jews like rebelling. They like doing things, am ksheoref, right? So now you have a little bit of a temptation, because you're ksheoref. So you dafka do the opposite. So for that, you get a reward, not to be rebelling against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Okay? Yes?
You said before that it makes your soul impure, your neshama impure if you eat insects?
Yes. Rodents, insects, anything that are not kosher.
Who says that? Insects aren't
Of course they're not kosher.
Let's say grasshoppers.
The non-kosher, there are only specific forms of locusts which are kosher. Tell you about non-kosher ones. And especially the Chazal, there's a Rashi, the end of Parashat Shmini, who says that if the really disgusting, let's take a cockroach. He says the really disgusting insects, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, if I only took you out of Egypt, just that you shouldn't eat cockroaches, that in and of itself would be worthwhile. Because evidently in Egypt, they ate even very disgusting insects. Okay?
They ate cockroaches in Egypt?
I took cockroaches as an example, but we see the Chinese eat all those things, so why not Egypt?
No, but what cockroach?
I don't know specifically about cockroaches. I don't.
No, but what's cockroach is a specific example of that Rashi, or whoever said that thing about ETF and China.
Yes. Okay, but so the Rambam here has, however, a very different shot, and this Rambam, it's an amazing Rambam, and when I first learned it, when I was a teenager, I think it changed my perspective on the world. Okay, so let's learn it. Perush Rambam. Meikore Hamuna, one of the basic principles of our Emunah, b'Torah. Sheikayim Odam mitzvah tarek mitzvos. When a person keeps one of the tarek mitzvahs, kol ra'ui, and appropriate, b'kahogan, and properly, v'lo yishatef imo, he won't connect with it. Kavana mi kavanos olam, any ulterior motive, any intent which has to do with this world, to get honor, to get money, to get some sort of other advantage, b'shum panim in any way, shape, or form, el shiyasa oso lishma, he does it for its purpose, me'ava, out of love of Hashem, like I explained to you, hinei zacha, with this he merited with this l'chayei holam haba, the world to come. Balzeh amar Rabbi Chanina ki hamitzvos yosem harbei. Look at what he says. There's so many mitzvahs. It's not possible for a person won't do at least one of them during his lifetime the right way, ushleimusa, and perfectly. But mitzvah, and when he does that mitzvah, that's going to give him his chiyus in eternity from that maisa. So it's an amazing thing which Rambam says. Rambam says in order to get the Olam Haba, you have to one mitzvah lishma. At least one mitzvah in your lifetime lishma. And it's very hard to do a mitzvah lishma. So therefore the Rambam says, Hashem gave us many mitzvahs and many opportunities that at least in our lifetimes we should be able to do one mitzvah lishma. So not like the Bartanura, that here you get pick up a mitzvah here, pick up a mitzvah there, and get more and more merit. No. You should be able, we need you to do one mitzvah lishma in order to get into Olam Haba. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us many opportunities that anybody should be able to get at least one mitzvah right. That's an amazing statement. So the Rambam is saying that Olam Haba, what is Olam Haba about? It's about lishma. What is lishma about? Lishma is out of love of Hashem. But there's more to it. I want to explain based on Birchas HaTorah. Every morning we say Birchas HaTorah, and we say, yeah.
When it said that, what was wrong?
Okay, maybe he'll come back. So the Rama, every morning when we say Birchas HaTorah, we say we should colonial be Yodei Shemecha v'Lomdei Sorasecha Lishma. We should know God's name. That in of itself requires a lot of explanation. Why do we have to know His name? We know His name. What does it mean? But I'm not going to leave that for now. But then it says Lomdei Sorasecha Lishma. We want to be able to learn Torah Lishma. So what does it mean to learn Torah Lishma? So one of the Rishonim, Rabbi Avraham Minahar, and one of the great Achronim, the Aggadata, they both say that you can understand the end of the bracha based on the beginning of the bracha. The beginning of the bracha starts, V'harev no'as divrei saroscha b'finu. V'harev is an interesting word. Does anybody know what it means? No. V'harev no? What? What? Sweeten, very good, yes. Like shemen orev, like sweet oil, yes. And they say that, what does it mean to learn Torah Lishma? That you should find the sweetness of Torah. And a person should be able to enjoy learning Torah. The way the Aggadata puts it, you have to learn Torah b'simcha. If you don't learn Torah b'simcha, it's not lishma. If you don't do a mitzvah b'simcha, it's not lishma. I once, many years ago, when I had a shul in Chicago, I was giving a speech, and I mentioned that why, the name of Rabbi Dessler, why is Oneg Shabbos so important? Why not just Shmir Shabbos? Right? Shmir Shabbos means to refrain from all the negative stuff. Why do we put such an emphasis on Oneg Shabbos? On the pleasures of Shabbos. And I said that because to do something lishma means you enjoy it. To keep Shabbos lishma means I get a geschmack out of Shabbos. So there's a guy in the audience who got up and he said, when about this the phrase I'm about to use is not necessarily meaningful to you now, but at some point it will. He was a real Litvak. And he said, I hate Shabbos. I'd much rather be on the beach on Shabbos, and I hate Chulent. And I keep Shabbos anyway. And that's Lishma. So he said, so what does Lishma mean? He's saying, Lishma means when I can't stand it and I do it anyway. I'm Moser Nefesh for Shabbos, because I can't stand Shabbos. But I do it anyway. But, no, and there's a famous story about Ramosha finds who was asked why people who were Moser Nefesh for Shabbos in the early 20th century, when they came to America, why their kids were not Shomer Shabbos. And if Rabbi Lina will correct me if I get this wrong, but I believe the way it goes is that he said, because although they kept Shabbos with a krechts. They kept Shabbos with a groan. They said, "Oi, I have to lose my job this week because I have to can't work on Shabbos. Oi, I have to not make money on Shabbos and I don't know what I'm going to eat next." So, yes, they kept Shabbos, but it was a burden. They were doing it like my pal back there in Chicago.
We say the phrase, it's a schwer zu sein.
Yeah.
So he held it's good zu sein.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Right. So there's a phrase in Yiddish, it's schwer zu sein a Yid. It's difficult to be a Jew. So obviously there's a subtle message in that it's a burden, but it's supposed to not be that way. It's supposed to be a tremendous simcha to be Jewish. Yes.
So when Aaron said that Hashem gave us a bunch of mitzvahs to choose from, like to pick one
to try and do one lishma.
Try and do one harder. Does that mean that you should only do one?
No, you should do as many as you can. To get to Olam Haba, the ticket to Olam Haba is at least one lishma. But the more you do, the better it is. Okay?
I thought there's a Mishnah that says everybody has a Olam Haba.
Yeah, yes, but the Olam Haba means, according to the Rambam, not according to everybody. According to the Rambam, it means, like the Chavetz Chaim said, if I believe it's Chavetz Chaim, everybody has a field, in which a portion in the world to come, like a plot, and you build your own house in the world to come, right? And if you don't have mitzvahs lishma, you're going to be lying on the ground in Olam Haba. Obviously, it's a metaphor, but you won't have. It won't be. In order to enjoy Olam Haba, you have to be on the same wavelength as Olam Haba. There's an interesting Chazal. Rish Lakish says that. I'm going to explain it further. What's that limit? Just give me a second. There's a Gemara which says that Rish Lakish says that Lasi Lavo, when the eventual judgment comes about, there's no Gehenna. There's no punishments. There's only the aura of Shivas Mebrachis, the light which was put into Geniza, which was hidden after the days of creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes it out. And it's a tremendous source of pleasure and happiness and satisfaction for the tzaddikim. And it's a tremendous sense of anguish, torment, and embarrassment for the Rishonim. So what does that mean? It means, yes, Olam Haba, you can have a chelik. But in order to enjoy Olam Haba, you have to have a relationship with that light. That means you have to know how to enjoy Torah, enjoy the light of Torah, in order that you should be able to enjoy Olam Haba. Otherwise, the same light is going to have, for you, it's going to be a torture. And this, I once heard, right. And it's also the one sukkah with, Doma, Kasara, Kahar, but there's a mashal I heard many years ago from one of my Rosh Yeshiva, and it's not, I don't know if it's a Jewish mashal, but it's a very cute mashal, which is that what's an Olam Haba, and it's a similar idea, but focusing on another aspect. Olam Haba, the Rishonim and Tzaddikim, they're all going to sit at the same tables. And there's going to be the same amount of food on them. Again, it's a metaphor, right? It's not to be taken literally. And everybody's going to have the same food in front of them. And everybody is going to have a fork. But the fork is going to be too long for me to put in my own mouth. It's going to be like a really long fork, and whatever I do, it's tied onto my arm. I can't move it, and I can't get it into my mouth. So the Rishonim, what they're going to do is they're going to keep on trying to get the food into their mouth, and it's not going to go. It's not going to work. The tzaddikim, what do you think they do? What?
Like regular forks.
No.
They use the other-
Use their mouth.
What?
Use their other hand.
What?
Use their other hand.
No.
They feed each other. Yeah.
Feed each other. Right. That's so the tzaddikim feed each other. Because that's the point of a tzaddik. A person who's really refined is a person who cares about the other. That's part and parcel of being a tzaddik. So therefore, they come to Olam Haba and they feed the other person. As opposed to the Rishonim, who are so self-centered that even when they get to Olam Haba, they can't figure out. If I fed the other guy and he feeds me, then we would both be enjoying it.
But that doesn't mean that you should, that if you're by yourself, that you should in general feed other people. Because you just don't do that, right?
What?
But that doesn't mean that you feed.
No, it's just a mashal. Don't take it too literally. But it's just a mashal. So to do one mitzvah, Olam Haba is a world where we say in Aggadata, where tzaddikim are yoshvim and nanim miziv hashchina. Whatever that means, it's a tremendous pleasure. We don't fully understand it, but it's a spiritual pleasure. And therefore, a person has to have a notion of spiritual pleasure ready in order to experience that. So that spiritual pleasure a person has to have is defined by doing mitzvahs lishma, by getting pleasure out of doing mitzvahs. And that's what, Chazal say, do mitzvahs even shelo lishma. Shemitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. Because eventually you come to a lishma. So it's a beautiful pshat. I thought it was Rabbi Chaim Volozhner, but I'm not sure. He says like this. He says, it doesn't mean that if you do mitzvahs for 20 years, shelo lishma, the next 20 years you do lishma. No, it means like this. When you come to shir every morning, you come to your shir, you're tired, you're miserable, you're only there because otherwise you're going to get punished, your parents kicked you out of the house, you need to get a good grade. All the shelo lishmas. But in the middle of the shir, I hope this happens, I don't know if it happens necessarily to every shir, middle of the shir, you forget all those ulterior motives, all those other motivations. And you get lost, so to speak, in the learning itself. The Torah becomes so powerful and so extraordinary that all those things you thought about at the beginning fall by the wayside, and now you're learning Torah because you have the geschmack, because you're enjoying learning the Torah itself. So those minutes in the middle, and of course at the end of this year, you're ready, when is it going to be recess? I really need to get out there onto the basketball court. It's droning on, the Rebbe. But those few moments in the middle, when I lose myself, so to speak, in the Torah, that is the lishma, which makes it worthwhile. So every time I start a mitzvah, the same thing happens to me when I come to give a shir or a class. Very often I start off, I have to do this because they pay me to do this. I have to do this because somebody asked me to give a shir, even though I don't want to. But in the middle of the shir, I forget all that, and then I have just a geschmack from the shir itself. That's the lishma, and that makes it all worthwhile. Of course, we start off every day. That's not necessarily doing things lishma, but then when we forget all those ulterior motives and we're just enjoying the thing itself, that's lishma. Does this happen to anybody yet in the shir? Anybody ever experienced? Can you imagine experiencing it if you haven't experienced it yet? Okay, fine.
Also a mitzvah lishma if you're doing a mitzvah just so you can get another mitzvah, just because you want more mitzvah. No, it has to be out of love. It has to be because of love Torah, love of Hashem, of a feeling of elevation. Okay, it's not. You should do the mitzvah anyway. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what the Rambam is referring to. Yeah.
Is there any way to get a Mishnah? Let's say like you like
You will someday.
how would
You will.
you like keep on doing it?
Yes. Eventually, if you don't feel it, and now you'll feel it in high school. You don't feel it in high school, you'll feel it when you get post-high school. It comes eventually. And there's another chazal which is important to speak about in this regard, which is, there's a chazal which says, A person should only learn in the place that he wants to learn.
You told us about the school, the summer hill.
Right. So for the people who weren't there, so the two understandings of these, both of which are true. One is that you should only learn the subject matter which you want to learn, and the other is that you should only learn in the place that you want to learn. Why? Because Rav Hutner explains. He says that you can't have the simcha of learning, which makes learning meaningful, unless you're learning something that you love, and unless you're learning a place that you love. Now, of course, again, as we say, you should learn anyway. But the true impact of Torah is only when you enjoy it. By the way, and therefore you should find what you enjoy in Torah. Torah has tremendous possibilities. For example, there are certain parts of the Gemara which I cannot relate to. When the Gemara talks about makes cheshbonos, it reckons things. The mathematics involved. It's not for me. I learn anyway, because I have to learn it. But the other people who have more mathematically inclined personalities, for them, such Gemara is great. They love it. So each person has a chelik in learning, which is going to make them happy. It's going to make them ecstatic, which is going to make it lishma for them. Also places. Sometimes people are in a yeshiva where they don't enjoy it, right? At your age, you don't really have a choice. You're stuck wherever you're stuck, because your parents make you be here, or there, or wherever you're going to be. But at a certain point, a person has to choose for themselves what yeshiva is going to be a place where I'm going to enjoy learning, and not just feel that I have to do it because I'm here. Those are important. In order to learn Torah Lishma, those are important qualities. So again, wherever a person is, even if they don't like it, they should learn. Whatever a person is learning, even if they don't like it, they should learn. But true Torah Lishma is I love what I'm learning, and that's usually because I like the subject matter, I like the place I'm learning, and because I believe in what I'm doing. Okay? So was there somebody had their hand up before which I didn't call on? Okay, let's finish the Rambam. The Rambam says here, the third line from the end of that Perush Rambam, that which will indicate this principle, Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion. The Gemara is going to bring down, the Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion asked, am I going to get into Olam Haba? Now, this is a strange question. Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion was a Tana, an amazing Talmid Chacham, a great person, amazing tzaddik. But he asked another Tana, am I going to get into Olam Haba or not?
Who was it?
I forget who it was. V'yeshiva meishiv, and the person, what?
What's the question?
Am I going to get into Olam Haba?
Who's on?
Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion.
Why not?
Well, that's what the Rambam's going to explain. He was a guy, they wrapped him in the Sefer Torah and they burnt him to death.
What?
He's one of the.
Sorry, Ruge Malchus. Yeah. So the Rabbi Chanina says, Mani Chayam Haba. What I mean for Chayam Haba? B'shiva meishiv klum ba ma'aseh yodcha. Did you ever have a ma'aseh, an episode, an occurrence? Klomar explains the Rambam. Are you sure that you ever did a mitzvah properly? So Yeshivo, and he responded, yes, I once did tzedakah, completely lishma, totally lishma. And the case was one where he lost the money which was collected for Purim, and he gave the money from his own pocket, and he was very besimcha about it. So he did the one mitzvah. Let me just finish this. And that is how he knew he merited the world to come. So the meaning of pasuk, Hashem chavetz mantziko, Hashem wants to make us, to give us tzaddikim, l'tzadek Yisroel, to make sure that we have that right sense of tzedek. L'man ki yagdil Torah v'yadir. And he did this in order to make the Torah great. Right? I mean, the Torah great for that purpose. Yeah.
In order to get like the whole Mahaba, like say if you work on one mitzvah, you only have to do that mitzvah once in your life. You have to always be working
Once in your life.
Just like do that once and then you
Once, yes. And everything else comes on top of that. In other words, you do one mitzvah lishma, everything else is icing on the cake. Okay? Obviously, the more you do, the greater Olam Haba, but that's all I'm saying.
Mashal that you gave, like that, you said that Chavetz Chaim gave with the field.
Yeah.
Adding on.
Right. Yes. Wait, one second. Yeah.
What age? This
What?
Is it 13? You said like 13. Like if you do mitzvah lishma, you said that, then you go. Wait.
Why did you start counting?
It starts at age whenever you have consciousness. A child who does a mitzvah lishma also it's a mitzvah
You
lishma.
get on Haba,
Yeah, for sure. What? But usually, listen, most kids who do mitzvahs, they don't do mitzvahs lishma. They do mitzvahs to please their parents. They do mitzvahs to make their teachers happy. Theoretically, though, if you
go to your parents though?
what?
Don't you have to do a mitzvah lishma after 13? Because before it doesn't like go to your father or something?
No, it doesn't. What goes to your father is that he gets married for having raised you properly. He doesn't get the mitzvah. He doesn't get the avera either. But he gets the avera of not having raised you properly.
Is this just for us saves?
But says and losa says. The way we tell over to kids, we say, "Oh, if you do avera, father gets avera. You do mitzvah, father gets the mitzvah." Just to make it simplify it. What it really means is that if your father helps you to do mitzvahs, he gets rewarded for having led you the right direction. Your father, it makes it easier for you to do averos. He gets punished for having led you in the wrong direction.
What does Rabbi Chanina mean?
Because now when a person turns bar mitzvah, they're supposed to be responsible for themselves. Nowadays it doesn't work so well because nowadays people don't get married at 13 and leave the house. You know the Netziv, just 150 years ago, he got married when he was 13 years old. So we created this notion of a teenager. A teenager is like an in-between stage between being a child and being an adult. So in which you're partially child, partially adult, but once upon a time, at 13, you're regarded as being sufficiently mature to be responsible for yourself.
Once you're 13, then your father doesn't have your mitzvah.
Yes.
He still does, like, for raising you properly?
Yes, because now the age which kids leave the house is much higher. So, but bar mitzvah also, you should know, what does bar mitzvah mean? Why do you come bar mitzvah at age 13? So, do you understand? What?
Wait, so why don't you say it on the bracha, why don't you say it when you leave the house?
Because we keep the minute as it used to be. We're big on minhagim in Judaism. But, yes. So listen, when a person, listen, one second. Chazal say, when a person is under the age of bar mitzvah, they only have a yetzer hara. You only get a yetzer tov when you turn 13. Anybody ever hear that before?
Yeah.
So, doesn't make sense, right?
You don't feel like different.
What?
You don't really like feel different.
Yeah, you don't feel different. So let's explain what that Chazal means. Okay, a child, no matter how brilliant they are, and many children are very brilliant, they're very smart. Whatever they do because they're motivated by emotion. They don't think independently about what's right and wrong, what's good and bad. Rather, they know if I do this, people will consider me good. If I do this, people consider me bad. And therefore, if I learn a lot and I get good grades, I'm going to be considered a good person. If I do good things, I'm a good person. If I do bad things, they're going to consider me a bad person. The person doesn't think, a child on the age of 13 is not capable of independently thinking, stepping back and thinking to themselves, what is truly right and what is truly wrong, and that I should do that which is truly right and that I shouldn't do that which is truly wrong. A person starts being able to think independently in that way, intellectually, when they become around the time bar mitzvah. So that's when the Chazal say you get Yetzer when you're born, they're not using Yetzer in the term of being a bad person. They mean being an emotional person. And when Chazal said you get Yetzer when you were 13, it doesn't mean until now you couldn't be a good person. It means now you're beginning to be intellectually capable of independent thought. So again, when a child does something, almost never is it because they thought through what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing, and decided to do the right thing. Only once you turn 13 do you begin to be able to think that way, and it's a process. Let me just make one more point to the question. And that's why Chazal say the din shamayim doesn't really take effect on you until you're 20. Everybody knows that, right? In shamayim, they don't judge you until you turn 20. Why is that? Because those 7 years are the process, the time which the intellect becomes gradually more and more developed. And the intellect doesn't fully develop to the point where you're really held to sufficiently advanced to be an independent thinker and responsible totally for your own actions until you're 20 years old. By the way, 20 in Chazal means 19. When you hit your 20th year, that means when you turn 19. Yeah.
What? So that means if like Chas Shalom somebody dies before he's 20, he doesn't get judged?
Right, he just gets, we don't know exactly, he only gets judged relative to the amount of maturity he achieved.
If you die if when you're really young, don't you automatically get a little?
Yeah, well, yes, but there's possible you'll come down, it's likely you were a Gilgul or are going to come down again as a Gilgul.
And also, is that why, since like a little kid does it like emotionally, is that why like when you yell at like a 3-year-old for trying to run into the street and they start crying?
Right. That's why people, you can't explain intellectually to a 3-year-old. Listen, their cars, and across the street, they're dangerously, they might hit you. No, you can make it emotional. Yeah.
For a kid, the Yisroel
Emotional? It's not that he's bad. In other words, besides the Yetzer Hara being an evil inclination, Yetzer Hara being a good inclination, there's another meaning, which Yetzer Hara can mean emotion. And the Yetzer Hara told me it's intellect. And that's why Chazal say, when it says, Yisroel Hashem b'chol levavecha, it means b'shnei Yetzarecha, with both the Yetzer Hara Tov and the Yetzer Hara. How does that work? That means that your intellect will channel your emotion, so your emotions will not lead you in the wrong direction, but they'll enhance your being good. So emotion, what Rabbi Chanina explains that the reason why Chazal called intellect Yetzer Hara Tov and emotion Yetzer Hara is because if a person follows their intellect, usually, not always, but usually they'll do the right thing. A person just follows their emotion, usually, but not always, usually they'll do the wrong thing. But it's not always like that. And when a child does things emotionally, very often they do it because they want to be good in somebody else's eyes. Okay? So, I think we're supposed to go to what time are we supposed to go? 4:47. Okay, we'll go to 4:45. Okay, so that is what I really wanted to show you in the Mishnah, and now let's start the Gemara. Okay, so back to.
So what's the lesson of Rambam?
Lesson of Rambam is to try and learn how to enjoy mitzvahs, and doing them, enjoying doing that. He doesn't tell you how to. The Gemara is going to talk about it.
What?
The Gemara is going to talk about it.
So Rambam is saying that you get mitzvahs if you love them.
What?
No, basically Rambam
You do mitzvahs lishma means do them out of love of Hashem or love of the mitzvah itself. In other words, it makes you happy to do a mitzvah. That's what lishma means. Okay. I should instead. Let me tell you something else. Instead of starting the Gemara, there's a tremendous machlokas between the. Wait. Let's just start the Gemara first. For next week. Okay, let's start the Gemara. So the Gemara I wanted to do, not starting in the beginning, but it says towards the end of the page on Chav Gimel on the base. It starts the 2 dots towards the bottom of the page. Darash Rabbi Simloi. So Rabbi Simloi made a famous drasha. Sheish Mios. It's interesting. What does the word Simla mean?
Oh, left.
What?
Left.
That's small. What does Simla mean? What? Simla is a dress. Right? Anybody remember that? Everybody learn that? Simla is a dress? No?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Simlos.
So right. So we'll see if that's relevant later on. Darish Rabbi Simloi. Rabbi Simloi made a drasha. Shlosh me'os, sheish me'os, ushlosh mitzvahs nemer l'moshe. The 3. This is the source that they're Taryag mitzvahs. It says Moshe was told 613 mitzvahs. The Gemara itself never enumerates them. It never tells us what they are. That's why there are disagreements among the Rishonim how to count the mitzvahs, how to get to 613. And the Rambam has one count, and Rambam disagrees with several mitzvahs, and the Chinuch more or less follows the Rambam, but not always. And there's also other Rishonim, Ibn Gabi Rol, some Sadigol, who all made lists of what they perceive to be the 613 mitzvahs. So it's a machlekes, like everything else in Judaism. We don't know exactly what the 613 mitzvahs are, but there's 613 mitzvahs. Okay? What?
Mishnah in Makkos?
What? From here. This is the source. Okay?
Where do they know from?
He said he learned out from a drasha, which we're about to see. Okay? Darash Avisim Lo Sheish Meos Shlosei Mitzvos Nemer LaMoshe Shlosh Meos V'Shishim V'Chamisha Lavin 365 negative commands. Kiminyan Yemosa Chama, like the amount of days in the solar year. Interesting, not even though we have a lunar year, it's the amount of days in the solar year. Masayim V'Arboim B'Shmona 248 mitzvah say Kineged corresponding to a bar of Shaladam, a person has 248 limbs in their body. So,
Good way to remember it.
what?
Good way to
Yes.
remember it.
So it's interesting, and I'll speak about this next week. Why we are the only religion in the world, the only religion, which has more negative commands than positive commands. Well, most religions are much more into what you should do and what's going to make you happy by doing it than what you shouldn't do. We have way more, obviously, negative commands than positive commands. And the question is, why is Judaism structured that way? Why are we given many more negative commands than positive commands? I don't have time to answer that today. We'll try and answer that next week. What? You have a theory? Oh, I will, but not
If you
today.
do like the negatives, then like it'll be easier to do the positives.
If you refrain from the negatives. It could be out. That's a good point, yes.
Well, isn't it like if you have like a lot of negatives, like don't do this, you'd be more tempted to do it. If you're told not to do something, you're more tempted to do it.
Well, you're making my question stronger.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So again, we'll do that. We'll do that next week. But first, just go in the Drush Amar Nina Might Kra. What's the pasuk? Torah tzivalonu Moshe Morasha. Torah begematria. Shis me'ah. Turning the page down, Ralph. Shis me'ah v'chatzrei have. Torah gematria 611. V'nochi v'lo yelcha mipiak v'rosh manum. And the first two mitzvahs, Anochi Hashem Elokecha and Lo Yelcha Acharim, we heard from Hashem at Har Sinai. So Torah Tzivanu Moshe gave us Torah, 611 mitzvahs. And besides that, Hashem gave us directly the first two mitzvahs.
Wait, how does that equal? Oh.
611 plus 2 equals 613. Okay, we'll pick up on this point next week.